increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Summer means hotter days. Avoid using heat-generating appliances like stoves and dishwashers during the day. Use them during off-peak hours in the evening to minimize the effects of heat and save on electric costs. Late evening and early morning is also the best time to water plants and lawns, as water is less prone to evaporation. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Good morning, Bay Area.
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am your host for the next hour, Joe Spadoni. You're just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for the day, just chilling. You're an early riser, vacation, whatever you're doing. If you're out and about, if you're watching us on the Odyssey app, download that Odyssey app, favorite 95.7 The Game. If you're streaming us on Twitch and YouTube, good morning to all of you lovely, lovely people. We are live and streaming each and every day here, Monday through Friday, on 95.7 The Game. Just search, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Guess that's what they like to say, because there's a little bell thing. When you subscribe, you ring the bell. There you go. Simple as that. Also, old-fashioned way, hit us up at 888-957-9570. Call or text the Comcast Business text line. Always open for business. And it appears Saquon Barkley also open for business. Yeah, a little bit of breaking news here developing within the last hour. Saquon Barkley, one of the bigger names as it pertains to the running back position in the NFL. Couldn't agree on, the contract, the holdout, didn't want to play on the franchise tag. Well, him and the Giants agree on a one-year deal worth up to $11 million, which is basically, if you're adding incentives, about $1 million more than what he would have gotten just playing on the franchise tag. He gets about $1 million more worth of incentives. So that saga, at least for this year, is now over. We'll wait to see what happens with Josh Jacobs. Apparently, he flew out of Las Vegas, not in contact with the team, out of sight, out of mind there. What will happen with the Raiders? Jimmy Garoppolo obviously is back now. He passed his physical. He is ready to go on training camp. And we'll be ready to go here in Santa Clara as it pertains to training camp the next 2 days. Yeah. Wednesday, Thursday, morning roast, Steiny Goo, live from training camp out in Santa Clara via the Hilton in Santa Clara. Go hang out. Say what's up to Bonte. Say what's up to Shasky, Steiny Goo. They will be live and local there at the Hilton in Santa Clara the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. 49ers get underway with training camp tomorrow. Cannot wait, and cannot wait for all of you to join in the conversation at 888-957-9570. That is the number. EJ, good morning. He's on Highway 4, as he is seemingly every single day, EJ. What do you do, by the way, EJ? What's your line of work if you're driving that early? You a driver, truck driver, whatever you're doing. If you're a truck driver, if you're a pediatrician assistant, if you're a doctor, nurse, whatever. If you're working in retail, doing the unloading shifts. Oh, God, I used to hate those. Back when I worked retail, it's like, oh, so-and-so, can you work an overnight shift? I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Absolutely not. They have done it like once or twice when they had stock on Tuesdays. Shout out Michaels, where creativity happens. Oh, the amount of glitter of that place, man. Unreal. 888-957-9570. You know what else is unreal right now? This Giants losing streak. 6 in a row? Come on. Really? To Detroit?
Here's the 1-2. Sable strikes out to end the game. 100-mile-an-hour sinker. So Foley gets it done, a hit and a walk, and the Giants' road trip finally comes to an end.
Dave Fleming on the call there, NBC Sports Bay Area. Giants fall to the Detroit Tigers 5-1, striking out 15 times. Skubal gets the dub. 9 Ks for him, only allowing 2 hits in 5 innings. It's a great name. I heard all the Scooby-Dooby-Doo bits. Tariq Skubal. Ross Stripling, 10 hits in 6 innings. Only gave up the 3 earned runs. Got the 3 Ks, but 10 hits. He was grinding out there. And I guess you can look at it overall and be like, okay, he's been solid the last few starts. Solid. It's great. 3 runs, that's a quality start in this era that we are in. 6 innings, 3 runs, that's a quality start. You would hope the team behind you would put up more than 1 against a lowly Detroit Tigers team, although playing better as of late, 46-54. They were a lot worse than that. And in the AL Central, I don't think they're quite dead yet, if I'm just going to look at the division standings. Yeah, 53-48. So they are not dead yet. Not even, no. If we're just looking at the wild card, they're only, they're 9.5 back. Okay. Got them confused with Cleveland. But still, only 8 back for the division. So they're not totally dead yet. 888-957-9570. Giants falling to the Detroit Tigers. And we're a week away officially from the trade deadline. I don't know where I'm at with this Giants team. I mean, they're good. They're not great. Not awesome. They're solid. And I think if you're that kind of team and you're muddled up within this wild card race with teams like Cincinnati, Arizona, Philly, Miami, hell, if you want to toss in Chicago and San Diego, do you really want to give up a lot to separate yourself from those teams? Well, some say yes. Some would say, no, you're a couple games away from just being out of it. Or you're a couple games away from being in the driver's seat in the NL West, because they're only 4 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So what will they do a week from now? We'll continue to discuss the San Francisco Giants as it pertains to starting pitching, as it pertains to the middle of the lineup, because they're struggling. 15 strikeouts against the Detroit Tigers team, and I get it. 5-game losing streak, road, makeup game. This is supposed to be your off day, but instead you're spending it in Detroit. There's certain off days in certain places, and all due respect to Detroit, in July, 90 degrees and humidity, probably don't want to spend my off day there and get shoved against a guy named Tariq Skubal, who's good. Not throwing shade at Skubal, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. But that's not what I want to do. So coming home against the Oakland A's tonight and tomorrow, probably a sight for sore eyes, if you will. But although nothing's easy right now for the Giants, so they're going to have to go out there and earn it, even against a team like the Oakland A's, who, again, have been struggling, but they had their off day yesterday, and we'll look to get back into it starting tonight. The Bay Bridge Series, is that still doing anything for anyone right now? It's just been a hard year for A's fans. It's been tough. You know, flirting with going to Vegas. It's going to get approved, got approved, and it's just like, what's going to happen there? I mean, until the shovel's in the ground and they're building something, I guess there's still hope. But it just feels bleak. And that usually S-talking back and forth between the fan base is just, I don't know. Feels like Giants fans are just feeling sorry for them more than anything, and A's fans feeling sorry for themselves. And I don't blame them. Been a tough situation all year, but maybe, just maybe, we could have some fun here in the next 2 days, and everyone could come together and just get the sell chance going. That's what I want to see at Oracle. That'd be a beautiful sight. Get the sell chance going. Show you your locking arms with your fellow A's fans from across the bridge, Giants fans. I think that would be the message I would send to the fan bases out there for both sides these next 2 days. 888-957-9570. Good morning. 888-957-9570. Nicole, Javier. Javier thinks they need to sell Giants. Well, we'll see. I don't know what you're selling. I keep hearing this. Who's buying what you're selling? Jock Peterson? Okay. Yeah. Great. Ross Stripling? Oh, some quality starts. Let's move on from Ross. Well, if he's actually doing quality starts, don't you need that kind of pitcher to stick around? Shamanaya? What's he getting? Like what? I don't know what you're selling on this team that is going to bring anything back. Because you're not selling. Because if you're becoming sellers, then you're keeping your lower level prospects. The people will actually give you something. So I don't understand the rationale of totally going to a seller mode. If we're all under the premise or the notion, if you will, that the Giants are going all in for 2024, and that's kind of what the timeline suggests from what Farhan has been doing. Obviously, they won the 107 games a couple years ago, but maybe that was more of a aberration or a maxing out of that roster, if you will. And it was just a great, amazing year. A flash in the pan. And maybe last season, that was kind of their lowest bar, if you will. Finished the season 500, but we're below for most of it. And maybe this year is the right barometer and they're somewhere in the middle. And then if you add on this offseason next season, you could become a true, legit World Series contender type of team, NL West contending type of a team. Not to say they can't do that this year. They can. But what this team has shown me this season is they are incredibly streaky. I can't trust the starting pitching. Bullpen is fine. It's good. But that middle of the order, the bats, again, Katy Perry, they're hot and they're cold. They're yes and they're no. I don't know what I'm getting. And what are you going to give up to add to that? 888-957-9570. Here's Gabe Kapler and his thoughts after the game yesterday after the Giants lost 5-1. His thoughts on the team striking out 15 times.
I mean, I think on a day like today, the quality of the at-bats don't really matter. We're just not getting it done. And we all know that we're in this together, and we're going to have to find ways to put together better at-bats and have those at-bats end with the walks and hits and runs that we're capable of.
We're all in this together. Shout out High School Musical, man. Troy Bolton. I think Gabe could do a musical. He could be Troy Bolton. Do a reproduction of that. Good morning, Xavier Dub. And EJ, I asked what he was doing earlier because EJ Gomez, he's a P1. Hits me up each and every day on the pregame show here. He drives on Highway 4. He's an engineer in Silicon Valley. His drive is from Brentwood. God bless you, EJ. That's a drive. Don't wish that on anyone. Hopefully the traffic's not too bad like it is for me. It's not bad in the morning. It's the one benefit about getting up at 4 o'clock every day, driving on over here, is I know I'm going to breeze over that bridge. It's nice. It's a small consolation. Get nice little parking spots to myself out here. There's some free ones. Shh, not going to tell you where. Although we're moving to a new building soon and there's no parking around there. And we don't have a parking garage. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure it out, I guess. Maybe have to park over here and walk. It's kind of sketch, though. Probably don't want to do that every day. Walk 20 minutes at 4 in the morning here in the city. Here's more from Kapler talking about Ross Stripling's outing. He thought he pitched great.
I thought he threw great. I think he's been throwing really well since he came off the IL and throwing a ton of strikes, mixing up his pitch as well, staying off barrels, being very aggressive, and obviously getting built up more and more, and gave us a chance to win the game. We just weren't able to get it done for him.
Great. Okay, let's relax there, Gabe. If he pitched great, he wouldn't have given up 3 runs, 10 hits. Great start. Semantics maybe, but whatever. Great start would have been 2 or fewer earned runs to me. Or 1 or fewer. It was good. It's quality. Let's relax on great. Gave up 10 hits. They were hitting him around. Now, he grinded and got through 6 and saved that bullpen a little bit, which is huge because this bullpen is taxed. It's a big deal. I get it. If he could be more consistent from what we've seen from Ross Stripling these last few weeks, okay. That is a development. But none of that matters if you're not going to hit. 15 strikeouts against the Detroit Tigers, it's not going to get it done. And if I see that type of performance again on one of these two next games against the A's, then you got real problems. You're on a 6-game losing streak in a road trip that started out so promising. Faded so damn quick. Finished 5-6 when it looked like a lock that you're going to be positive on this road trip. That was a huge loss for them yesterday, momentum-wise. It felt like you could have wrapped your head around the notions like, you know what? We salvaged this one in Detroit. Got a positive momentum, positive road winning streak. Okay, there you go. Not winning streak, but winning record. And now we go play the A's, and they're a bad team, and if we can just get back on track there, give us momentum going into the series against the Red Sox, okay, we're building something. Because this is going to be a tough August. You look at the standings here for the Giants, it's going to be very, very difficult for them in this month. It's going to tell a lot about the team, as it usually does, the dog days of the baseball season are August. And you look at the teams, again, after these next 2 games against the A's, you got the Red Sox, D-backs 4-game set, 2 more against the A's, Angels, Rangers coming into town, Bruce Bochy and co. You got the Rays, Braves, Phillies. Well, Jesus. Braves again. It's not going to be easy. Reds, Pods. It's a brutal August. It's going to say a lot about this team. In a week away again from the deadline, how are we feeling about this team? Where are we at? Because I feel like this is kind of where I pegged them prior to the year, but the way they've been playing, it just makes me hesitant to say that this team is fully buying or fully selling. Right in the middle, which I know in sports is not fun to talk about. Being average, quote unquote, or slightly above average, it's kind of not where you want to be. But particularly in a sport like football, where if you're looking and you're average and you're not competing with the Josh Allen's, Mahomes's, Joe Burrows's of the world, Jalen Hurts, the Eagles, stuff like that, the Niners, you're not competing with those teams. You're a fringe type of team, or you're slightly below that. It's kind of the worst place you can be. As it pertains to baseball, I mean, look, we've seen the A's been doing this for the last 20 years. Even in their down years, they've been, competing, quote unquote, but sometimes don't quite make the playoffs or they fade late. What's it going to be with the Giants this year? 888-957-9570. One last one from Gabe Kapler, just Giants not playing good enough baseball.
Obviously, we haven't played enough good enough baseball to win, and in the last 5 games just hasn't been up to par for us. We're a better team than this. We know it, and got to get home, turn the page quickly, and get ready for Oakland.
There you go. Turn the page quickly. Who's going to the A's games and Giants games these next 2 days? Let me know. 888-957-9570. A's fans, Giants fans, hit me up. That number always open. You can also hit me up on Twitch, on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. Ring the bell, and also download that Odyssey app, favorite 95.7 The Game. God, it's hot in here. The studio. Someone forgot to turn off the little AC unit last night, so it was just recycling hot air. And listen, I'm a guy wearing shorts and flip-flops every single day around here. Can't really tell because I'm sitting down most of the time in my chair, but whew, it's toasty in here. It feels like Miami with this humidity. Whew. Shout out Nicole Diaz, P1. So the biggest news of the day, as we transition, we can get back to the Giants whenever you want at 888-957-9570. Biggest news of the day so far, Saquon Barkley, 1-year deal, $11 million, coming back with the New York Giants. One of the biggest topics of conversation surrounding the sport of football outside of our little bubble, because obviously Niners and quarterback position dominates. Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold. And again, we will be live and local tomorrow from Santa Clara, the Hilton in Santa Clara, for training camp. If you are going, hit up Steiny Goo, Morning Roast. Those 2 shows will be live and local. Shasky, Bonte, Steiny, Guru, hit all those guys up. They would love for you to come see them. But the biggest story, or stories if you want to say that, outside of our little bubble here, has been the running back position and the quote-unquote devaluation of them. You just had Saquon Barkley have one of the better seasons in the league last year for a running back, a young guy, top 5 pick out of Penn State. We are. And he held out along with Josh Jacobs, a guy who led the league in rushing last year. First team All-Pro. Held out. Dalvin Cook, cut. Looking for a new contract. The new team, new squad. Austin Eckler, try to get traded. No one's trading for him. So you've been seeing a lot of elite running backs, elite fantasy running backs, and it is fantasy season coming up here, folks. A few more weeks, can't wait. But you're seeing all these guys who have been absolutely massive for their teams. I mean, just think about some of those names I just said. I think the Chargers might not make the playoffs without a guy like Eckler last year. Giants, without Saquon Barkley, what would Daniel Jones be without Saquon last year? Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. Josh Jacobs at the Raiders, and I know they didn't make the playoffs, but hell, they're winning at least 3 or 4 fewer games without some of his performances. I go to that one in Seattle last year when he had 220 yards. He had the walk-off touchdown. Unbelievable. But what the league is telling them is, yeah, that's all great. We feel like we can just draft your backup, your replacement. And the Raiders tried to do that with Josh Jacobs. Hell, do we all forget that they started him? Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler go, they started him in the Hall of Fame game. This is the guy that ended up leading the league in rushing. It was the first team All-Pro. They started him in the Hall of Fame game. The levels of disrespect there. For a guy that was a leader of that franchise, you had a new GM, you had a new head coach, and they're trying to, bring on that quote-unquote Patriot way, right? And we've heard about that for decades now. And who's the only one to really succeed with that? If we're going to be honest. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. You know why? Because they have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Doesn't work anywhere else. Works when you have one of the greatest head coaches, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. That's when it works. Now, if you want to toss in Mike Vrabel there, sure, I guess. But Vrabel was more of an Andy Reid guy, right? Learned under him at Kansas City. And I know Vrabel played for the Patriots for a long time. Learned under Bill Belichick, was a defensive guy. Bill O'Brien, okay. Texans, had some success. Give you that one. Penn State, again, going back to Penn State, had success. Sure. But not anything going to a Super Bowl. Only Bill Belichick has succeeded with the Patriot way. So, McDaniels, Ziegler, and co., they take over. Taking a look at the roster, who, by the way, had just made the playoffs. Don't forget about that. After all the turmoil that happened in that season, Henry Ruggs, obviously, that whole situation happening in Vegas, tragedy, killing of a woman and a dog. It's horrible. Should have derailed the entire season. It didn't. John Gruden getting fired didn't derail it. Team rallied behind the interim head coach, special teams host Rich Bisaccia. They made the playoffs in one of the more thrilling games against the Los Angeles Chargers in the final day of the regular season on Sunday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It was electric. So they decided, Mark Davis is like, I want a legit head coach. And I guess he went with Josh McDaniels because of his, again, success in the Patriots organization. And I'll give Josh credit for this. He did unlock Mac Jones in that rookie year. I mean, Mac Jones looked like a good quarterback. They made them look like they made the right pick. And just look how far Mac Jones fell off without him. So McDaniels does get credit for that. For all the years of Tom Brady and stuff, okay, sure. But then I saw Tom Brady do all that stuff he did in New England in Tampa with Byron Leftwich, who's now looking for a job. So again, it always comes down to the quarterback. The quarterback is the ultimate deodorant for a franchise. Where was Andy Reid prior to Patrick Mahomes? Falling short with Alex Smith, with Donovan McNabb, with Michael Vick. That's where he was. Not to say he wasn't a hell of a head coach. He was. But you need that guy. And for the Raiders, last season, it wasn't the quarterback. It wasn't Derek Carr. He did not have a good season. It was Josh Jacobs. He was the leader of that offense, along with Max Crosby on that defense. Those are the two leaders. And Max, having gotten paid last offseason, along with guys like Darren Waller, who's not on the team anymore, Derek Carr, not on the team anymore, Chandler Jones, still on the team, but replacement drafted. You're a guy like Josh Jacobs, and you see all that, and you had the year you had, and you couldn't come to an agreement. Leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and I don't blame the guy for being a part of the team and not being a part of the team, I should say. Flying away from Las Vegas, going to wherever he needed to go, and not reporting to training camp. Now we'll wait and see if this move from Saquon Barkley, again, if you're just joining us, pregame show Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Saquon Barkley signs a 1-year deal worth up to $11 million, which is basically $1 million more with incentives over the franchise tag total of 1 year, $10 million. We'll see if this move from Saquon, spurs any action with Josh Jacobs of the Raiders. I have my doubts. My feeling is he'll hold out all throughout training camp, return to the team, play on a 1-year deal for $11 million like Saquon, something like that, and then they'll move on. But I just think you're playing with fire when you're messing with leaders of teams. And I know it's the running back position. And listen, I don't fault McDaniels and Ziegler in this whole situation. And you may think, Spadoni, you're talking out two sides of your mouth. You just kind of crushed them for doing it. I was like, I'm not crushing them per se. But what I am doing is taking a big macroscope view, if you will, of this entire situation. And I'm looking at Ziegler and McDaniels and being like, I kind of see why they don't want to pay the running back. Because history has shown us the second big contracts for the running backs rarely work out. Unless you're a Hall of Famer, like a Derrick Henry. Or a Hall of Fame talent, like a Christian McCaffrey. Like it rarely works out. So I don't blame them for doing this and being shrewd negotiators. You have to be. But at the same time, I don't blame Josh Jacobs for having the season he just had and seeing all of his teammates and quote-unquote leaders of the team getting paid, and he's like, what the hell? 888-957-9570. We're up against it. We'll continue this conversation on the other side. Plus, Twitter is currently going under a rebrand. Using a certain letter of this X thing. We'll get into that on the other side. And I'm looking around some of these sports teams in America that can use a rebrand. We're going to do that on the other side here on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
All right, Team 95.7. It's time to report for camp.
Training camp is here. The questions are endless. We'll be at the...
Welcome back. It is the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch and YouTube. Appreciate all the feedback there. Search 95.7 The Game. Like and subscribe. Get the opportunity. Ring the bell. Download the Odyssey app. Favorite 95.7 The Game for all of your Giants, who lost 5-1 to the Detroit Tigers yesterday. Giants coverage. Niners, who begin training camp tomorrow. Warriors, who are just the talk of the summer here at 95.7 The Game. So download that Odyssey app. And also, just hit us up at 888-957-9570. You can call or text that number. Good morning to Xavier, my family, Dante, Ashley, Xavier Dub on the chat. Bill O'Brien and success of the Texans shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence. I think Bill O'Brien actually low-key gets slept on for success over there. Made the playoffs 4 times. How long was he there? 6, 7 years? He's doing the Brock Osweiler. Guy's named Kubiak was TGA's, but Brock Osweiler was Billy O. Then he got Deshaun Watson. Give him credit for that. Or Brian Hoyer in there. Narrowly missing the playoffs. And they were never going to win in that conference. Although they did have that 24-0 lead against the Chiefs. That was kind of the nail in the coffin there for Billy O. If we're just going to crush him. Settling for that field goal in that divisional round at Arrowhead when they should have just gone up and tried to go for it because they were smashing them. That was the game there. Obviously, it didn't happen. The rest is history. And the Chiefs go on and do their thing. Man. And Xavier then, it's not too shabby, but he did trade D-Hop for a bag of peanuts. That's what you're seeing, though. Like, you're seeing this now, and I think our fantasy football trades like rarely equate to actual GM trades, you know? Like, we may think all these guys have DeAndre Hopkins, he's a first-round talent. Well, when you factor in a lot of different stuff, age being one of them, it's not the case. Darren Waller going for a 3rd-round pick, which is basically a comp pick, I'm pretty sure it was anyways, from the Kadarius Toney trade, from the Giants, from the Chiefs, all that sort of stuff, and how it trickled down all the way back to the Raiders, who again traded Darren Waller this offseason to the New York Giants for a 3rd-round pick. You may look at that as like, man, when Darren Waller's healthy, he's top 5 tight end in the league when he's healthy. Like, that's it right there. You answer the question yourself. Like, this is what teams are thinking about when it comes to the running back position and why they're so hesitant. Because once that big injury comes, and hell, it already came with Saquon. That's why we saw this, shrewd negotiation tactics from all these GMs for New York and Vegas as it pertains to Barkley and Jacobs. It's like they're looking at these guys like, man, you're one torn ACL or torn Achilles, you're done. And now you may say, Spadoni, that's for a lot of different positions. You can't just say that for the running backs. It's like, yeah, but the wear and tear of a running back is so much different. The usage rate for all these guys, we have to use that term, usage rate. The poundings that these guys are taking, it's more so than any other position. Hell, just look at Kyle Shanahan. The stable of backs, we like to say. All these guys have Mostert, Coleman, McKinnon, Davis Price, Sermon, Mitchell, McCaffrey now. Like, I'm sure I missed another 5. That's just Shanahan. And we know he loves his outside zone running scheme. That's his bread and butter. That's why I'm so damn excited to watch this team, too. With Christian McCaffrey out there. Oh, man. It's going to be interesting how they use him. Because his touches did go down a little bit when Mitchell was healthy. And that's going to be something to monitor throughout the season. We may see certain situations where, like, why the hell isn't Christian out there? They may be doing a little load managing of Christian, considering his injury history. And he's already gotten his bag from a prior team, the Panthers. But if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm absolutely doing a pitch count on that guy. You kidding me? You know, Joe Shasky's going to join me in the next segment, and he posed this question to me last week when I was filling in for Bonte on the Morning Roast. He's like, who's more important for this team going forward? Is it Kittle on offense, or is it McCaffrey? I was like, it's McCaffrey. It's not even close. Not even close. In the past, it was Kittle because of the blocking, all that sort of stuff, and how good he is with his hands as a tight end. But McCaffrey opens up everything. How many times last year did Brock Purdy scamper around? Ooh, almost slipped and ate it. Shout out to Pregame Show on Twitch and YouTube. You would have seen that. But how many times was he scampering around? Looking, doing that silhouette, rolling to his left, and then just dumping it off to McCaffrey. Huh, there's 20 yards. Oh, there's 8. There's a first down. It's infuriating to opposing defenses to see that guy, little blonde-haired, blue-eyed running back out there, running around, catching the ball in the flat, and making these guys look foolish. It's humbling. And that's why I think Kyle Shanahan needs to make sure he has everything in his power that Christian McCaffrey stands upright, at least heading into the playoffs. And then we'll see if that usage rate explodes. Good morning to all of you on the Comcast Business Text line. 888-957-9570 is the number. We've been talking some NFL here. The latest, if you're just joining us, Saquon Barkley agrees to a 1 year worth up to $11 million with the New York Giants. The franchise tag was 1 year, $10 million, so he gets about an extra $1 million in incentives. You may say, Spadoni, that's not a lot. Well, I'm not a millionaire, so I don't know. $1 million worth of incentives would be nice. If I had $1 million worth of incentives here, you're damn sure I'm hitting those. The podcasting, the daily cuts, all that sort of stuff. Oh, I'm doing the numbers. Absolutely. Oh, man. If only the ratings were tied to it, we'd be dominating. 888-957-9570. We got the crossover coming up next. Ask Joe Shasky's thoughts on what's going on with Saquon Barkley. Josh Jacobs potentially up next. Christian McCaffrey. I'll tie that. I'm going to ask that to him. Should McCaffrey be on a pitch count this season? Because I think he should be. You've invested this much into this guy with draft capital and now with salary. You better make sure this guy's standing upright in time for the playoffs. Because Kittle, that's been another thing. Injuries with this team. Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, he's been relatively healthy. Mitchell, the quarterbacks. I didn't even go down that list. All the different quarterbacks that have been hurt. Health is the name of the game for the San Francisco 49ers. And is health the name of the game for some of the 95.7 The Game hosts today going out playing golf at the Berkeley Country Club? I'm going to ask Joe Shasky about that next. You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
The best time to get a great deal on a Ram truck is now. During the Ram Make This the Summer event. Visit Ram.
Always a good time. We got Daft Punk one more time. One more segment here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast may or may not be joining me. Little car problems. Don't worry, he'll make it, folks. He always does. He needs to get his thoughts off on the Giants, who have lost 6 straight, losing to the Detroit Tigers yesterday. Finished that road trip 5-6. Not great. But the best remedy for that is playing against a team like the Oakland A's. Got 2 against them tonight at Oracle Park. And if you're going, hit us up here at 888-957-9570. Just doesn't have the buzz like it usually does. Just there's all this stuff going on as it pertains to the Oakland A's. And they're going to move. They're not going to move. It's just a crappy situation all around for that fan base. And I think Giants fans are kind of feeling they're licking their wounds, if you will, in their own sense. So it's like, let's everyone just have a good time. Be safe. We don't need rowdiness, and we know we get that. Been to many a Battle of the Bay games, Bay Bridge Series, whatever you want to call it, out at both places, whether it's the Coliseum or Oracle Park. You'll find knuckleheads. You will. Just, if you're near them, just back up a little bit. As a father of 2, I try to sniff these things out pretty quickly. And you got to splurge a little more so you're not in the bleachers, because that's usually where it happens, the upper nosebleeds. I get it. The elevation mixed with the alcohol does crazy things. But let's not do anything stupid the next few days, Giants and A's fans. I think we could all agree on that. Speaking of stupid, like that for a segue, don't be stupid. Not paying money to the leader of your team. At least that's what I think. Personally. When a guy has the season he had last year, a guy like a Josh Jacobs, I don't know. I think you should pay him. But that's Joe Spadoni, the fan, speaking. I'm not working in the front office. I'm not running the numbers, crunching them like these guys are doing, like the Zieglers, McDaniels, the Lynches, the Shanahans. I'm not doing that. I'm just going off what my eyes tell me. My eyes tell me it's the heart and soul of the team. Led the league in rushing. All pro. He's, 25, 26 years old. And he's primed to get paid. What's the holdup? Well, the holdup is no one wants to pay running backs unless you're a Hall of Famer like a Derrick Henry or Hall of Fame talent like a Christian McCaffrey. That's the only thing. So 888-957-9570. I think it's critical and crucial, as Joe Shasky drops me off my coffee. Oh, beautiful.
It's actually from Bonte.
Oh, it is. It says the name on there right there. Bonte. Thanks, buddy. Maybe you should join me then. No, you won't do that. Guess me next week, though.
I've had one of those weeks.
Boy. Who came in more flat this morning, the Giants or you, buddy?
Oh, my tire.
I did it, Sam.
Let me get myself situated here. But, Joey, there's really no more deflating feeling than going out to the car.
Tom Brady.
On a day where you're kind of running late to begin with, you go out to the car and you look at your tire and you're like, oh, is it really that bad? And then you turn it on, and the way that the digital things are.
I know the exact symbol that you said in the text thread.
Yep. So you've seen that on your car.
Oh, yeah, because my tire pressure sensor. So there's this little thing.
That's what I have.
So that one is my back right rear tire. That one is messed up. So it always if I hit a big bump, it'll pop on. But there's nothing wrong with my tire. It's just that little sensor thing. And I don't want to pay $150 to replace it because it's useless. My mechanic's you don't have to pay for it. It's just a sensor. But just be sure that you're just checking it if it pops on, stuff like that. So it does pop on, but usually it's nothing. And then wintertime when it's cold, obviously it gets a little lower.
Lose a little.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yours was just all gone.
It was gone.
Oh,
and so then part of the perks of waking up early is during the day, there's lots of stuff that you can do.
True.
And it feels like the freeway just opens up for you to do whatever you want.
Oh, it's the best.
Right? Everyone's like, I can't shop. I can.
Yeah.
I walk right into Dick's Sporting Goods and do whatever I want at 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Great. It's awesome.
Wherever I'm going, I get food, opens up. Anyway, point being, the negative, though, is that all these gas stations, it's not that they're closed. It's that, I'm telling you, these gas stations in the morning, I went to 3 before I found one that worked. How was the air and water broken at all of them. It was like the milkshake machine at McDonald's.
Man.
And they had cones and construction tape on all of them. I'm like, of all the days where I have a flat tire, and it's the day where we're going golfing and we're doing all these things, and I'm just like, this is just...
Speaking of which, you're all decked out in your golf gear. Are you excited to play tonight?
Well, I should have known it was going to be a bad day because I went to go wear my baby blue polo, and it had a big streak on it from the dryer.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Dude, we need to fix our dryer because mine has been getting like holes in like random spots in my clothes.
Really?
It's like, there has to be like a little metal piece.
nail or
something sticking out somewhere. It's driving me nuts. It's ruined some of my favorite shirts.
Dryers are expensive.
I know. Well, like we got our place 4 or 5 years ago. This is like an older dryer, but we have the warranty and stuff like that. So whenever it breaks down, instead of fixing the whole thing, they try to find the thing because they would have to replace it, the warranty company. They just fix it every time. It's like a hot company or whatever like that. So when the time comes, I'm looking forward to when we replace it. But speaking of replacing,
you know what my joke is to my wife?
Oh, I was doing an awesome segue, but it's
I'll
okay.
let you do it. I'll let you do it.
It's fine. Go ahead.
My joke to my wife is, God, I wish we married someone who was handy.
Oh, Jade crushes me. She crushes me because like I can't do the nails and the thing.
I can't
like that.
do anything.
She crushes like, why did I marry you? You can't do any of this stuff right. I was like, well, sorry. You knew that when you got into this business, honey. I am not a handyman. My dad wasn't a handyman. His father wasn't a handyman. Like my mom's side, that's another thing. Like my grandpa and stuff like that worked at a coal mine, did all the like handyman type of stuff. He's that guy. My mom was that person in our family. Like it wasn't my dad because my dad was working 2 jobs. So my mom was home a lot doing all that sort of stuff. But I was not. I was playing video games. I was like, I'm not doing all that stuff.
Nor was I.
No, come on.
And my whole entire family is handy but me.
There you go.
Which sucks.
Shout out Phil Handy, Guru's guy, Lakers coach.
Or my buddy Casey Handy,
there
who's
you
out
go.
there in Novato.
Joe, I've been talking about this morning because the big news, obviously, is Saquon Barkley getting the deal, right? 1 year, $11 million. It's basically just the franchise tag, but $1 million more worth of incentives because the franchise tag is $10 million for the running back. So he gets the 1 year. That's the big story this morning. And the next domino to fall, I guess, is Josh Jacobs, right? That's the next big domino. They're not getting these big contracts, the running backs, because the wear and tear is shown previously, unless you're a Hall of Fame guy like a Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson, chances are when you get paid as a running back for that second contract, it's not going to look good. They're going to get hurt. They're going to fall apart. Something's going to happen, and you're not going to get that return on investment. That's basically why these guys aren't getting paid, right? The running backs.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring this up because I was listening to Mark Willard yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, name me a Super Bowl champion who's won with an elite running back." And my argument is like, yeah, they all have superstar quarterbacks, but look at how many mediocre quarterbacks are propped up by superstar running backs. You ever heard of a guy by the name of Jamal Charles?
Yeah.
He propped up Alex Smith. How about this guy by the name of Frank Gore?
Yeah.
Who did he prop up?
There you go.
All right. How about Derrick Henry? Who does he propped up the last couple of years?
Well, I know the name is he's got a disgrace at this point. Ray Rice winning a Super Bowl against you. You remember? Did we forget how good that guy was?
That's my point. Like, just because you don't win the Super Bowl doesn't mean that teams that are in the final 8 aren't led by superstar running backs. Like, I look at Daniel Jones. Now, I don't know if Daniel Jones is any good or not, but we all know Saquon's pretty damn good.
I would have loved to seen Daniel Jones this season without Saquon Barkley. I think he would have dropped dramatically in his production.
Now, look, we could talk about supply and demand. We could talk about usage and all of these different things. But this misnomer that running backs don't matter and that they don't help you win Super Bowls is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Well, it's frustrating to me just as a fan. I'm a fan of the Raiders. And
Marshawn Lynch?
Marshawn Lynch? Yeah, are you kidding me? Not giving him the ball, you would have won twice, by the way.
Marshawn Lynch. Like you watched the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson at the beginning of his career, and you're going to sit here with a straight face and tell me running back, not you, but just like the person in general, running backs don't matter?
It's silly. And I'm sure Mark feels that the Niners with Brock Purdy are Super Bowl contenders legit, but part of that is Christian McCaffrey.
No.
That's like the part of that. That's like the part of it. Real quick, by the way, I've been talking about this.
It's just
real
crazy.
Quick about Christian McCaffrey, and I think it's an interesting conversation. I was just kind of sprouting it out. I was like, I'm not saying the term it's a loaded term.
What's that?
We load managing Christian McCaffrey this season.
Oh no, pitch count is what I call it.
Yeah, the pitch. That's what I was saying earlier.
Like, there's a between the tackles
there has
pitch
to be,
count.
Right? Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
right. This is where I think what Christian McCaffrey provides, which maybe some of the other running backs don't, is you could split him out wide. You could start him in the backfield, split him out wide, and use him as a slot receiver. And I think that you can kind of ease some of that load and still get him touches. But see, to me, there's context to the touches. Are they the between the tackle touches?
Those are the ones, right?
Jalen Hurts runs, to the outside against 180-pound DBs.
And he knows how to slide, too. Yes.
No doubt. But, there's context to all of these things. Wes Welker's career was infinitely more physical than, let's just use Torrey Holt as an example.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
I
love Torrey Holt.
Well, you just think the amount of concussions that Wes Welker had alone and the amount of shots he took just because he was right in the middle, right? That's what happens.
Exactly.
These small slot receivers, they get popped. And then it's night. You saw that from Hunter Renfrow last year. He had concussed for most of the year.
In 12U baseball, we've got these pitch limits and all these rules. And a guy pitches 65 innings and 65 pitches.
Oh, is that true? Yeah, I was actually wondering about that.
The rules were actually very extreme, but I'm glad they're in place. But I would go to the umpire and go, so that guy could pitch 65 pitches and he's done for the next week, but then he'll go play catcher.
Oh,
well, now he's throwing back to the pitcher the entire time. We've got to make some context on these rules.
I mean, but the throwing back to the pitcher, the strain on the arm. But I understand the motion, the fluidity.
Matt Cain throws 85 pitches in a game, 90 pitches in a game. He don't really throw for a couple days. But little Timmy, who's 12 years old and undeveloped, is going to go play catcher and then try to throw down to second.
Needs to build that strength, Joe Shasky. He's going to be fine. I understand. Real quick, you excited to play Bonte today on the links?
I am. I'm very excited.
Nice.
I'm very excited. It's going to be a great day today, and I'm fired up. And I want to give a shout out to Golf Mart in San Rafael. I usually go to the one in South City, but my buddy Jonathan over there at the San Rafael Golf Mart location plugged it.
Love
I
Golf
got some
Mart.
new sticks.
Nice.
Dialed in.
Oh, what'd you get?
I got some Ping I-230s.
I can see the hat. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that a new hat too?
No, this is an older hat. I was trying to. It's a long story. I'm probably gonna buy some swag at the Berkeley Golf Club because I want to, rep their stuff. I don't want to wear logos from other places there, so I'll probably buy a hat or something over there.
There you go. Joe Shasky, Bonte Hill next. Morning Roast, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey station.